Hope you're enjoying an amazing holiday season. Welcome back to a fresh new edition of Between the Horns, presented by your Southern California Toyota dealers with Maurice Jones-Drew, with DeMarco Farr. I am JB Long. It is the very best time of year to be in Los Angeles. Don't you agree?
Oh my God, yes. It's December. We just had Christmas. Fantastic Christmas, I hope, right?
Good for me. How about for you?
Great for me.
And we could have worn shorts if we want. Great time to be,
Well, I was going to say, I finally started to thaw out this morning. In the 65-degree weather from the 17 or whatever it was. Feels like 10, whatever it was in New York.
Was it in the teens?
You know what? Game balls for both of you guys. I knew DeMarco was going to get one.
Well, he had
just
to.
braving that sideline like he did. Got that high five from Kyron. That was cool. Good eyes by you.
I messed up though.
What?
Because he stuck his hand out and I hit his helmet instead of his hand, so I left him hanging. But it was good though. Yeah, it worked. Yeah.
But Maurice Jones-Drew, I mean, we were on this show last week saying you're not built for this and having some laughs, but what'd you say? You thugged it out?
I thugged it out for you, man.
Look,
JB wanted that window open. He wanted to hear the crowd.
Yeah.
He wanted to feel the elements. And I didn't go to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning because I had to really get myself psyched up back like I was playing again.
Yeah.
And I did.
Nice.
And then I got on that plane and I went to sleep because they took everything out of me.
I envy that. As soon as we get on the plane, he's out. But was it in the teens? Because I know it was super cold, but I didn't hear the exact temp. So
the
it was
wind chill and the feels like temperature for sure.
That was a hell of a bear trap of a game, bro. And for the Rams to fight their way out of that and to win that game, I thought was huge. I'm not sure what it meant for playoff seeding or whatnot, but to go there and to get a win in those conditions at that time of the day, phenomenal.
You know, our audience didn't like me calling that a trap game last week, but you agree it was a potential bear trap game.
It was a trap game.
Well, I think
the very definition of a trap game.
I could have done a better job clarifying that you can win trap games. That trap games are just a matter of your schedule and how they set up, but that was a professional effort to set
Every
through
trap doesn't snare an animal or its football team. No. You fought your way out of that. That was a great win for this football team.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched those shows, the animal shows, when they catch the trap, they catch the bear. And then there's always a person that's going to come in there and help the bear out. They're going to put a towel over it. That's kind of what happened to the Rams. First drive, they're like, I'm stuck, my paw, right? And then as a team, some of the other bears just came over and opened it up.
Yeah, sometimes he gets out. Yeah.
I thought he was going down the naked and afraid pathway.
No, we're not.
I'm glad you stopped him.
Yeah.
The other thing I love about this time of year in Los Angeles is you can drive anywhere. This week, between Christmas and the New Year, no school, people aren't working. There's parts of Los Angeles that you can visit that you would never think about. Awesome.
It took me 25 minutes to get from LAX to here today.
Nice.
The
best gift for Rams fans had to be that clean injury report, right? Wasn't that a thing to see on Tuesday? We know Rob Havenstein has popped up with a shoulder. We'll get more details about that here today on Thursday, but no better place to be than leading the division and having the guys in the right seats.
Out in front. Yeah, clean injury report, getting that win, having the team starting to click. Can we say, where are we on the road to the best game the Rams have played this season? I think we're getting closer. Or maybe that was it. What do you think?
I think it's still out there.
You think so? Yeah. Okay. There's more points to be had, but as far as offense, defense, special teams, not hurting yourself, digging yourself out of danger, I mean, that was one of the best performances of the year. So that was a Christmas present for me.
Yeah, I felt like the Rams, they put themselves in a little bit of a hole, but they climbed out of it quickly. To me, I think that it starts off with the injury report having no one on it, right? At the start of the week. And Sean saying, other than the normal bumps and bruises, we're clean.
There's a lot.
And then you look at Arizona's injury report, right? And there's like 12 dudes on there, And so this time of the year to have no one really on that report, you talked about Rob Havenstein, knock on wood, but to have that means you got to have guys getting that cohesiveness again, practicing, catching the ball, just getting used to each other.
Like they're having fun.
Yeah, and then coming off of that type of win, we always talk about confidence. This game is about everyone's talented. It's who believes and who doesn't, and that belief in each other is going to continue to grow as long as they can stay as healthy as they can.
So you touched on some of the elements that we'll dig deeper on this edition of Between the Horns. We want to get your final thoughts on the win in the Meadowlands. Definitely a deep dive on the matchup with the Arizona Cardinals, the rematch after I think the deepest of lows probably this season back in week 2, right? But should we start with, so we're here on a Thursday morning. There's a big game tonight, as you probably know, Seattle going to Chicago. Should we run through the clinching scenarios real quick?
Yeah. I love this.
The Rams, as you know, are winners of 4 straight. 2 games remain, both of them at home. The Arizona Cardinals have been eliminated, and then the Seattle Seahawks are the Rams' only remaining competition in the division. Before we get into those scenarios, though, I think a word on why it's important, because I don't know if you guys do too, a lot of, well, just win them both. Keep it simple, win them both. And I agree, I want to win them both. But there's tremendous value, I think, for the Rams, especially when you talk about that injury report, to be able to potentially rest starters in week 18. That's why I think we're so anxious to get it done in week 17 and why these scenarios are worth examining. Do you feel differently?
No, you're right on point.
I know some people don't like to rest starters in week 18, but this coach, this organization, we know if given the choice, that's what they want to do.
Well, are those same people, are they not believing in trap games? Those same people?
Well, I don't know.
I'm just saying. But
a little bit. I would say this too. Think of how important the Chiefs getting the 1 seed was, where they played Patrick Mahomes in 2 games in 5 days on a bum ankle, supposedly, right? When we thought he was done. And they were like, no, we got to win these. That rest week is so important for the second season.
That's kind of where I am. Would it be nice to sweep Seattle?
Yeah.
Of course. Would it be cool to get to 11 wins? Yes.
I think it's more fun not to play your starters against your division rival.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
We can talk about the 3 seed too. I think that would be absolutely beneficial. But I would prefer, speaking only for myself, to do all those things with Stetson Bennett throwing his first NFL pass, and Jordan Whittington and Tyler Davis and Emmanuel Forbes and Charles Woods doing it against the Seattle Seahawks. All right, so 2 paths. Depending on when you're watching or listening to this show, you might already know one of these outcomes. A Seattle loss to Chicago on Thursday Night Football is the most direct path for the Rams, because then win and clinch Saturday is on the table. For the purposes of this moment in time, let's assume, maybe wrongly, that Seattle gets the win tonight. The other scenario is you need a Rams win over the Cardinals and at least 4 wins by this group of teams, all playing at home this weekend. Cincinnati on Saturday against the Broncos, Washington against the Falcons, Buffalo against the Jets, Minnesota against the Packers, Cleveland against the Dolphins. And I'll finish on this one, Monday night, San Francisco against the Lions, which leads me to the question, could you bring yourself to root for the Niners on Monday Night Football if that's what it came down to?
I don't think you have to.
You were counting on your fingers there.
Counting or raising your hand?
I was counting. So the games, Detroit, I think, goes into San Fran. They may win. San Fran is always known to like play spoiler. They play hard, and that may happen. But to me, the Dolphins going to Cleveland, that's a game that I could see Cleveland winning, regardless of who's at quarterback. It's cold. They don't play well in the cold, right? So you have an issue there. Cincinnati is just rolling right now. They're mowing teams down left and right, which for the AFC, I know that's scary.
That's the only one the Rams will know when they kick off Saturday against the Cardinals.
Oh, really?
And so to me, that you have a chance there to have at least 3 of those. 3 of the 6 happening with a possible 4th.
So funny. So this is 3 sides of one football team. So I would let JB handle the math part. Like you said, you're trying to go through and parse through. All I heard is Rams win. That's it. That's all I would be focused on if I'm coaching or playing, is just the Arizona Cardinals and whoever's next. If they tell me we're off the next week against Seattle, great. But all I am focusing on is Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals, and what will be will be. So it's 3 sides of the same thing we're talking about. I think it's smart to keep an eye on what's going on, but you can't lose sight of what's important. The first thing you mentioned was Rams win.
There's no scenario on my sheet where the Rams lose this weekend and still clinch this weekend.
That's got to be number 1. And I would rather take care of this and not have to go to the end and fight them.
Yeah.
Because what's better than making the playoffs? Sending somebody else home, especially your division rival. So focus on what's the main thing is the main thing. Beat the Cardinals.
Well, I think they did that last week, because I remember last week was kind of like, if you win this game, you lose this game, doesn't really matter. No, you go out there and win, because now you put yourself in a clinching scenario this week, right? So, always take care of your business first. But for everyone else, for all the rest of us, I'm looking and I'm counting fingers, and I got the board up, and we're moving, and we're sliding stuff around to figure out, how can we rest guys week 18?
And just to spell that out, because I know we just threw a lot of games, some of which are AFC, at our audience. If you haven't really studied it, why do those games matter? It would come down to strength of victory, potentially, that 5th tiebreaker. And so to simplify it as best I can, teams the Rams have beaten, but the Seahawks have not, you want them to win.
Right.
And teams that Seattle has beaten, like the Denver Broncos, that the Rams have not, you want them to lose.
Exactly.
Rams have a strength of victory margin that you want to maintain through this weekend.
That's the count room in Vegas. High level there.
Yeah. One other kind of corollary to that I want to ask you about, which is the Rams, by virtue of winning last week in New York and Tampa Bay losing in Dallas, They're now the 3 seed. Does the 3 seed potentially holding on to it in these next 2 weeks matter to you, or is it just the division and the home game that you care about?
When I saw that on the sheet, I went and looked. I don't care, wild card for 1 seed, whatever, just get in. But I looked. I didn't know the 3 seed was, dare I say, cursed. Did you guys know that? Like 3 seeds get knocked out by 6 seeds more often than not, or whatever. I mean, I thought
like the 5-12 game in the NCAA tournament or something?
There's something about 3 seeds, especially in the last 5 or 6 seasons.
To play Green Bay.
Yeah. But I don't care where you're seated. Just get in the dance. But I heard the 3 seed is cursed. I thought you guys might know that too.
No, it happens a little bit. To me, if you're the Rams, it really doesn't matter where you get in, but I always want to go and be the highest seed I can. Right? Like, it is what it is. Unless you can match up and be the 4 seed and you can play a team, maybe the Vikings, right, that you've already beaten, that you have a better understanding for. But even then, the Vikings could be the 1 seed and you could be the 4 seed and run into Detroit.
Yeah.
Right? So you just don't know what may happen in this situation. To me, you always fight to be the highest seed you always can, and then you just figure it out from there, right?
Yeah.
If you catch a hot team, you catch a hot team, but you're a hot team as well.
It's not Olympic badminton where you try to pick your favorable matchup.
No.
Yeah.
No, that was my next question. Do you have any preferred playoff matchups? But you're saying you can't control that between now and then anyway?
The only thing I would prefer is that I play them at home.
Well, to that point then, I think the 3 seed does have value, because if you do catch an upset, you might have the right to host a second playoff game.
As if I can keep my team here, great. That's the only thing I'd be gunning for. Now, if you told me we need this one or we don't, because of that, I may listen, but I'm with you. I try to go for the highest seeding. I don't care who we match up against, but if I could keep everything at home and do that chess-wise, I would do that.
It's so funny, though. Remember when the 2021, when the Rams won and they were the 4 seed? You beat Arizona, you go to Tampa, you win at Tampa, and it was like, all right, like, looks like we may have to go to Green Bay. And then the Niners pull that one out, and then you get a home NFC Championship game. Like you said, you always want to go for the highest seed, just because, to me, you just never know.
Or last year, you remember being in Detroit and watching Green Bay go put it on Dallas, and you're thinking, okay, this reshapes the thinking in the NFC. I think there's at least as much firepower in the 5, 6, 7 seeds that are shaping up in the NFC this year, don't you?
Oh my gosh. Like, you're talking about Washington. They don't even know they're young. They have no idea they're young. Bobby Wagner's like, he's over here breaking up fights. A young guy's going, it's like, what is going on? They're flying around. For them to beat Philly the way they beat Philly, and I know that Philly didn't have Jalen Hurts, but to go toe-to-toe with them and find a way to win that game, and now you're the 7th seed?
Yeah.
Like,
let me step out of LA for 1 second. I am not shocked by the Commanders at all. And it's not because of their quarterback. It's because of their coach.
yeah.
I was going to say because of ownership, that the whole organization
Everything's
got right.
changed, but him in particular. Yeah, I'm not surprised they're in the mix at the end.
Let me ask another question. Week 18, and we're assuming nothing here, but if Week 18 becomes quote-unquote meaningless in terms of win-loss for the Rams, what do you need to see Saturday night at SoFi Stadium to know that the Rams are ready for Wildcard weekend? Said another way, okay? If this Saturday night is the last regular season game that we see Matthew Stafford play this season, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, etc., what do you need to walk out of SoFi feeling to know that the Rams are going to be dangerous in the playoffs?
go ahead.
Well, I saw something. It's I don't know if we're going to use video on this episode, but there was a play. It's the top of the second quarter in New York. This is after Aaron Rodgers had ground out the first quarter, right? So this is Stafford's second possession. It's a 3rd and 7, and they are backed up. The Rams are. So this is the Jets' moment, and they're 7th ranked defense. They can rush the passer. This is where they go win the football game on a 3rd and 7. Obvious passing down. So they give you that exotic 5 look where they have a guy standing in that Micah Parsons position.
Right.
They're going to attack Bo Lemmer. At the last minute, the safety comes up. So it's going to be 6 on 6. Kyron's in the backfield. Snap of the football, they go hat on a hat, they pick everybody up, Limmer gets a piece and then redirects and gets him again, and Kyron Williams picks up that blitzer like that, and before they even know it, the ball was out. 2-2 ran a great route, great execution, picked up the first down. That to me says they're clicking. Everybody's on the same page, there's no panic, he's delivering the football, so if I see more stuff like that, regardless of how many points you score or what happens at the end of that drive, I know that offense is ready for the next step when you're all on the same page and you're executing. So you saw some of that in New York. If you see more of that versus Arizona and you win the game, I'm good.
It's funny you say that because I remember that exact moment how I was feeling. I was nervous because I was like, oh no,
You're backed up. Yeah,
you're backed up. You got to get this first down. Like they're pinning their ears back, and then Tutu Atwell's wide open, give him the ball, makes a guy miss, first down. Like little things like that. Yes, I will say there's another play. It was later in the second half. Kyron came up and picked up a blitz. I don't know what the throw was for.
Yeah,
but it was the thing about picking up the blitz is when the O lineman, there is no second guessing, and you know exactly who you have. It makes it easier for the running back to pick up to create that pocket, and it's easier for the quarterback to go. If you remember early in the year, the guys were like half touching a guy and sliding off,
or guys are coming free.
Yeah, and to me, that you're exactly right. For me personally, it would be I'm looking more in the kicking game. I think for the Rams to really be successful, I know offensive defense are doing a great job. They have to start winning special teams a little bit cleaner. I love the play with Whittington at the end of the game to secure that. I thought Evans did a great job of punting the ball.
Yeah, put one down at the 1 yard line. Unfortunately, it went 99 in the other direction, but he
still,
did his part.
like to me, you have to win those games. If you watch Christmas, the Baltimore Ravens dominated every facet of that game. It wasn't a play where they didn't have a phase of the game where they didn't have success. And to me, that is where if the Rams want to compete in that championship game, all three phases have to impact the game in a way that the way they did against the Jets. They have to do that and continue to be consistent.
I'm looking for a dominant first quarter. I continue to feel stressed that the Rams live dangerously by not putting up points in the first quarter, not getting off the field early enough, and allowing a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers to shorten that game on you. It's not just in the first quarter. I mean, there was nearly an hour of real time between the second and the third, between when the Rams got touches on the football. But I think it all starts on that first opportunity, either on offense to finish that drive and go up early, or on defense to tackle better in space, to rally up to the check down, to get off the field.
They started faster. It wasn't a 3-and-out this time.
No, I know, but I'm saying there's a big difference between even punting down to the 1 yard line versus grabbing a 7-0 lead. I think there's a great opportunity too, because it's Kyler Murray this week, to feel really good about handling an elusive quarterback too. Because if you are going to where you want to go in this NFC playoff picture, there's almost no path to it without solving for that. And I'm really excited to see how much progress this defense has made in that regard.
Everybody's moving, and this is weird. Just looking at Arizona for a hot minute and thinking about their future. So it seems like Kyler is settling into a more of a passer role and letting John Connor do the legwork. I know he's banged up right now, but that could be a mistake for them. But I am so with you. From here on out.
You talking about the Terminator or James Conner?
Did I say James Conner? I'm sorry.
Said John.
I don't even correct you when you do that, because I think that's a perfect
name. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, because that's how he's running.
But like he is. He's a monster, but he's more settling into like a pocket passer role. Okay, that's what you want to do. Fine, so be it. But from here on out, every quarterback is mobile. Every quarterback's a threat. Even Aaron Rodgers, in his advanced age, was a threat running the football. And you've had problems with that. So Kyler's not running like he did in week 2.
Right.
But there's always a chance he could turn that on. So I think you have to guard against that for this week, this Saturday, and get ready for what's coming down the road.
Before we go deeper into the Arizona Cardinals, one other thing from New York that I know we all want to touch on, and that is the return of Tyler Higbee. Like, take me inside that emotional moment for an organization, for a locker room, to have one of your captain caliber players return to the field after 11 months of rehab and pay that off with a touchdown.
I had a similar situation. We had a guy, Chris Naoli, who was cut. And then we brought him back. Yeah. And like, it was exciting in practice and all this stuff, and then he broke his hand during warmups, and it collapsed. Like, we collapsed at that point. Like, we were done for the year, just because like you had all that energy. So I know what it's like to have a guy battle back right off of injury. I think he tore his quad first, his quad tendon. They let him go. He can't battle back, but to have Tyler Higbee, all those surgeries, come back, you see him on the side working out, you're talking to him, and then to get him in the game, to start the game with him. You can see kind of how it was like everybody was feeling good. And then to see him score a touchdown was, like, to me, like, little things like that are stepping stones for that team to keep playing at a high level. And to see him break down after the game and all that stuff, like, they love him and what he brings to the game.
This here, just fantastic. And I did play Naoli. He's on the short list of guys that have kicked my ass.
He's a big, tough guy.
He was good. Oh my God, he was good. But seeing Higgs come back and seeing the emotion, and before that, seeing how much his face when he wasn't allowed to play, he wasn't healthy enough to play. You could tell he wanted to, and then now he's in pads, and he was damn near glowing before the game. So I didn't think he was going to score, but I knew there was going to be a train wreck at the end of that first reception somewhere. Right. And yeah, the reaction of the team and the coaching staff when he did score, he means a lot to this offense. He means a lot to this football team. So to have him back, to see him score was huge. We have been looking for a spark, a thing that could just galvanize this football team. It could be that, because I haven't seen any play or a player that brought everybody to the sideline or off the sideline when he scored. So having him back was huge for this football team.
Remember in the first month of the year when we were talking about guys were just being asked to do a little bit too much? Like reserves were asked to be starters, starters were asked to be stars. I feel like that could be happening right now in the tight end room. And what I mean by that is Tyler might be the best receiving and blocking tight end on the roster. But using him in conjunction with Hunter Long looked really good. Using him in conjunction with Colby Parkinson, I think, stresses a defense differently than when you're just living out of 11 without Tyler Higbee. Am I wrong?
No, I completely agree. You got to think about it. Higbee was 6'6". You have him and 6'7" stretching the field vertically. That's tough for anybody to go and get. Who do you stop on the top of having Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp on the outside with Kyrie in the backfield? It just makes you more of a versatile offense, right? Because now we saw it. Davis Allen got in for a play, and now guys are just moving in. How do you play all these different sets and formations with these different personnels, and not only different personnels, now it's different people in like
now there's a backside leak.
Yeah. Now it's DeMarcus Robinson. Now it's this, like, now you're forcing the D coordinator to stay up late at night to say, well, this is what they like to do with this guy, and this is what they like to do with this guy, and maybe we have to call like each play. And it's so funny because I just got off the phone last night with my buddy who coaches defense. He was like, depending on the personnel and the people in that personnel depends on the play call that I'm going to have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right? So if it's 11 personnel with DeMarcus Robinson and Tyler Higbee, is a different 11 personnel with Tutu Atwell and Kobe Parkinson. That's a different play call for them.
Well, I got this defensively, right? It's 11 personnel, and I got Puka on the move and Cooper over here. So I got a lot of attention here. Now what you just saw on film is I got to worry about backside too.
Exactly.
Because if we're shorthanded or we leave this guy one-on-one, it used to be we're comfortable going against Rams tight ends one-on-one. Now this guy's a problem.
Yeah.
You spread the entire defense. So like I said, huge for this offense having him back, because I agree. Hands down, he's the best tight end you have. I think he just proved that. So that creates a problem defensively. And he's also giving you a lift emotionally. He's one of your leaders coming back to the field when you need him the most.
But you're saying the Rams are better in 11 and they're better in 12.
In 12, yes. Okay. Yeah, he adds
and
a
don't
dimension.
Expect 13. You'll see some 13. You're going to see a lot of different things coming at you because of their ability to catch the ball and block.
I know that illegal shift on Hunter was frustrating, but it doesn't negate the fact that play hit.
Oh no.
Big time.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, frustrating, but at the end of the day, like, you have, again, there's just different guys that can do different things. Like, I'm literally talking to my friend was like, how do you, he goes, I have to have play calls for like 11 personnel Higbee, 11 personnel Tutu Atwell. Like,
changes everything.
So now there's just, you can't just be like cover 3. Like they were. Another part is, think about when you're talking about when the Rams had all the different reserves playing, you can just go out there and call whatever coverage you wanted because you felt like you had an advantage. Now you have to be specific in what you do, which puts more pressure on you as a coach, but more pressure on your players to execute because it's depending on where guys are and the motions and the shifts. It's going to be tough.
To your point about the illegal motion on Hunter Long, I don't think that helped the play pop. That play popped. He just
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. That was a hell of a run play and great blocking up front.
I'm just saying some people might be listening saying, why are they talking about Hunter Long? That was a bust. That was I think he's really emerged as a second tight end or a complementary tight end in recent weeks, especially with respect to the running game.
Yeah. But just, hold up on the laundry.
Two elements to this game with the Cardinals, and we'll get to where the Cardinals are in week 17 in just a second, but let's rewind time to week 2. I want your recollections of that loss and what bearing, if any, it has on what we're about to see Saturday.
Okay, so I'm sure we've both been through this. We've been on teams that weren't so good and teams that were very good, right? So we've matched up against the opposite on game day. And every now and then you get a perfect storm. I think Arizona was clicking that day because that was their best day by far. And I think as much as they were clicking, the Rams weren't. And you both met in Arizona. And it just looked the way it looked. I don't think they're 41 points better than you. I think that just happened way back then. So the team that the Cardinals will see this Saturday is not the team they played in September at all. So,
well, yeah, for sure, because you had half the team was on IR, right? Trey White was here, which he's not here anymore, and he was playing tight coverage on Marvin Harrison.
You're being nice.
I mean, he was on that first touchdown. He was on him. The second one,
I love you. Yeah.
But I will say this: watching the Hard Knocks with the AFC North and them talk about certain rules for certain quarterbacks, you have to have Kyler rules, right? And Kyler rules are. You want to be a passer? Awesome. That's what we want you to be. Stay in the pocket. Make them throw through the trees. When the Rams have been successful, they've always found a way to keep them in the pocket. They didn't do stunts. They just collapsed the pocket on them, and then Aaron would always puncture and go through. Well, you have 4 guys that can pretty much puncture the pocket, so you don't need to stunt and do all those. You don't need to blitz. Stay in. Let those guys rush and cover, right? And that's when the Rams have been best defensively. The other thing is this: when you get a chance to hit them, you have to try to go hit him, which makes him slide. He gets a little flustered. He gets uncomfortable. You have to have Kyler rules defensively.
It's a problem. No one gets to hit him.
Let me push back. Let me play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I completely understand and agree with what you're saying, but this guy had a perfect passer rating against the Rams in week 2. Why would you want to let him beat you from the pocket?
The same way, because I know what it's like when he gets outside.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
You're
I
picking your poison.
Yeah. Like, it's like Aaron Rodgers. When we had the conversation last week about, look, you don't want Aaron on the move because when he's on the move, it's
deadly.
It's scary, and that's what he was when the Rams kept him in the pocket. Even though it sounds crazy, it's the same with Josh Allen. All these quarterbacks, keep them in the pocket because at least you know where they are and you have eyes on them. Once they get out of the pocket, now you're chasing. That's when your coverage gets a little wonky.
So I would add this, right? Part of my Kyler rules is if he's going to scramble, and he's going to. The guy is, like you said, we all love his talent, appreciate his talent. But he's going to break contain at some point. But if he does, and this is an edge rusher's game, you have to make him go up the field and stay between the hash marks so you can get a shot on him.
Exactly.
I think he's one of the hardest quarterbacks to hit, period, when he's in the pocket. He just doesn't get hit. And the guy can absolutely flat move. So I would say if he does scramble, make him pay for it. And if he's a pocket passer, like I said, make him throw from a hole from the pocket because he's not that tall.
Exactly. That's what
to get the ball out. So, but it's easier said than done to keep that little hamster guy in the cage. It's tough.
I will say, I remember a couple years ago when the Rams lost the Cardinals at home and Raheem Morris was doing all these blitzes and stunting and trying to get him on the move. And I understand that. Like, you're like, we're going to do this. We're going to have a guy waiting on him. Yeah, but Kyler Murray runs a 4.240. Like, there's no one on your defense that's going to run with this young man. So that's why I say keep him in the pocket. The other part I say keep him in the pocket means he has to go through progressions. And if you watch Kyler Murray, he doesn't really go through progressions. It's 1-2 and the ball's out, or 1-2 and he's taken off, right? And so force him to have to sit in that pocket, feel those linemen around him, all those different things, and then that helps. On the other side of it, though, I'll say, and we said this before, it was supposed to be a tight ends game against Arizona. And it wasn't a tight ends game against Arizona. And I think that's part of your Arizona rules is that it's time for your tight end. They have to step up in this game in order to make plays. Granted, you didn't have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp got hurt in that game. But if your tight ends get going, like we just kind of talked about, all of a sudden now those linebackers have to cover. They can't fit in that run game. They have to worry about a tight end going to the flat, or they have to second guess a little bit. They have to start guessing. They can't focus on their keys. And so to me, when you play the Arizona Cardinals over the last couple of years, and we've always talked about this, and granted, I'm in the fantasy championship, so I may figure it out. But it has to be a tight ends game for the Rams to win. When they've always won, it's been a tight ends game against the Cardinals, and then they've kept Kyler in the pocket. Those are the two things I remember more than anything. I know C.J. Anderson ran well, but it was still a tight ends game. And so if your tight ends get going, you have success.
I literally forgot until this moment how much you love Tyler Higbee against the Arizona Cardinals.
Love him. He's still out there, too. I may go get him, but we'll see.
Do you have James Conner?
No.
All right.
No.
We'll see about him. Running back Michael Carter might get a lot of carries. If Connor and Trey Benson don't play, we shall see. You've both done a great job laying out a lot of the similarities and differences. Let me just fill in some blanks because for those of us who don't remember, Warren McClendon and Jonah Jackson started on the offensive line that day. Alaric Jackson and Steve Avila will start on Saturday. I think K-Dot's a different player. Kevin Dotson in September versus where he is right now.
That whole right side is
completely
good.
different.
But I think because of Havenstein, he's so much more comfortable there. And then with Bo Limmer, those two guys made him comfortable.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing the version of him that you want to see.
You said Puka did not play that day. Of course, Cooper was injured before the half. On the defensive side of the football, not only was Darius Williams on injury reserve for that first month, he'll play this weekend. Keller Witherspoon had not been signed to the active roster, and I think he's had 2 really good weeks against the Niners and the Jets. And Cam Kinchins only played 9 snaps. I don't think we've probably talked enough about the way he's grown into his rookie role.
Big hit.
Big hits. It's funny, this football team here grows safeties. They really do. Safeties come in and they get better and they become solid pros. Either you keep them or they don't. I think he's on that same career path. I mean, from moment one, he's gotten nothing but better to where you can't even say he's a rookie anymore, the way he's playing.
And then last thing about this particular portion of the conversation, before we went on the air with this edition of Between the Horns, there was a great argument going on between these two that I want to rekindle here.
No
And here's how I'll bubble it up. One of the biggest differences I went back and looked at is that day against the Cardinals in week 2, Jared Verse missed 4 tackles.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, wow, this guy's got the juice, but it needs to be refined. He's missed 5 tackles in the Rams' last 6 games. I think Jared Verse is a much different player at this stage of the season. You guys go ahead and have your little,
totally. I mean, so when I saw the rundown, how is this defense or how are the Rams different? So I go back and watch some New Orleans. I go back and watch some New England. I go back and watch Buffalo, Jets on, and then flip quickly back to week 2. It's night and day difference. Like you said, the names on the jerseys, some of them are different. There's some alignment switches, but that in particular, they're still feeling each other out. This was his, second game as a pro. He's still learning. So, and they're learning him. Oh, this dude is a menace. So if I'm on the backside of Jared Verse, I want to make sure I cast a wide net because he's going to win. The last thing I want to do is waste a good rush and let him out the back door. So yeah, they're learning. He's learning. Same with Kinchins. They're not rookies anymore. These are seasoned pros. So I think they've learned to play with him, and I think he's learned how to be a better pro. You can't let sacks and tackles go by. You can't miss. You've got to make those.
The disagreement that we had, or the debate that we had, was that against the Jets, the Rams would crash those tackles into Aaron Rodgers, and then right when they get there, they would stop and try to jump and try to grab them. My concern or my question is, DeMarco, why not just run the tackle into the quarterback?
Don't look at me.
Well, hold on.
I just ask, if you got a guard on, if you got
why
a guard
not
on
take
skates,
every carry to the house then? Every time you touch the rock.
There's 11 guys trying to stop me. That's one on. If you have a guard,
there's a dude that gets paid to block me, and I'm bullying him. You think it's going to be that easy?
Just if you got him on skates, just run him into the quarterback. I've seen him do it before.
Here's part of the reason why it's relevant this week. Paris Johnson left tackle, Jonah Williams right tackle. They've already been ruled out for the Cardinals. So this is a big edge rush game for all the reasons, because you're facing backups and because you get a second swing.
And my concern is I don't want you to win. I don't want you to win outside, because then you're giving him a way to step up.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to penetrate the pocket inside. And that's what I was saying. If Jared Verse with his bull rush, which I love, and I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Why not just run him into Kyler? Hit like you did at Florida State. He did that a bunch of times at Florida State. Just run those guys right into him.
Next time you take a delay handoff, then you need to go 99.
If
just saying,
I'm just telling you, if all guys are blocked,
no, but I'm right there with you. But this is what, going back to the first segment, when you're facing mobile quarterbacks, it's something you have to do. You have to take some smoke off. If you are going power, you got to make sure that guy doesn't get out.
Okay.
At the same, it's weird.
Kind of like Philly when he ran through the left tackle, and then he kind of got out.
You got to be smart.
Okay,
so, like
sense.
I told you, this is how we started this. If I'm Jared Verse in the offseason, I would pitch a tent in front of Aaron Donald's house and just pray he teaches me that wisdom. Because there's some stuff that goes beyond coaching. They can help you, and they're great coaches. But this is one of the all-time greats, and you've got all-time great ingredients. Somebody's going to help you bring that together. It might be him.
Mike Hoyt told me earlier this week that Aaron was here a couple of weeks ago working out. So you might not have to go to his house. He might just bring his wisdom here. Not to come out of retirement and play. No. Just to work out and influence the Rams.
Well, when you talk about versus power rush, I kid you not, he's got some unnatural power.
Yes.
Like when it's short area from 6 inches away, he goes to 1,000 miles an hour and he affects that blocker. They jump backwards. If you can teach off that and learn stuff off that, you might be unblockable.
Well, I was going to tell you too, Fashanu, like it was the injury that he had wasn't just because he got hit or rolled up. It was he had been putting pressure on that ankle every time he went in trying to like hold up, and eventually he just got caught. Right?
Legit, I think he's hurt a few tackles with that power.
Has.
Yeah, more than a few. Yes.
I want to bring this back to unanimous consent and agreement, and I think one thing we can all agree on is our larger point there in that segment is that the Week 17 Rams would potentially blow out the Week 2 Rams
I agree,
in a way that the Arizona Cardinals did, right? So
100%.
Looking forward to a revenge opportunity. I'm curious about one more thing in this matchup before we get to keys to the game. I would love to see, and I think you would too, the Rams going into the postseason, should they be fortunate enough to win, humming on all cylinders, especially getting some explosiveness back in their offense, right? But in terms of winning this game Saturday, are you looking for chunk plays over the top, or do you want to keep winning with the power running game that's taken them through the last couple of weeks on the road in bad weather? Here's why I'm asking. The Cardinals just gave up 243 rushing.
Yeah.
Highest total this season, 152 to Hubbard, including the walk-off and overtime. So are you seeing that saying, hey, we've got this blueprint, let's just lean right into it? Or do you want to see Stafford back in a climate-controlled environment slinging it?
Oh, you asking me? To me, I want the Rams to do what the Rams do, right? They take shots, they play it, but they become a run first team, and I want to see you run the football downhill. I would love to see you run the football more than you throw the football. That means you have control of the game. You have the way the game playing is to your favor. But I would love to see shots down the field. I've always called for Tutu Atwell going down the field. I'd love to see, to be honest, I'd love to see you get guys in space. I think part of your power running game is a screen to Puka Nacua. Or a hitch that's part of your power running game too. That's what I would clarify it at. Anything under 5 yards to Puka, to me, is a run play. Because
we said that in New York, that basically what the Rams have put on tape is that if you want to beat them, you're going to have to tackle Puka Nacua 10, 12 times in the field of play.
That's their power back.
That's the starting point.
You got to think. That's their biggest guy. It's like the Buffalo Bills. They have Josh Allen. That's their biggest running back. So when they get in the red zone, one of those 3 plays before they kick a field goal, you're going to have to tackle him.
DeMarco, the truth of the matter is this is just a sake of the show question, because it's not a zero-sum game on offense. You can do both. And in fact, the way the Rams are running the ball, if Stafford can get a grip on the football and get the pass protection, the explosive should come right with it.
You know where I'm going. I think you're closer to being a more physical brand of football. Like, I think, because of Sean McVay's history, Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, all that stuff, we're expecting 35 points, some sort of offensive explosion. And I would love to see explosive. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see that, but you got to give me a who and how in this offense. Who and how is going to be that guy explosive? So what I think you are right now is a team that runs the ball and you run it well. So this Saturday, I would not be surprised if you see Kyren and more Kyren and Kyren again and more Kyren.
Get a little Blake.
And Blake too.
I do want to see Blake get 10 touches in his first NFL touchdown before
but either way,
weekend.
Run, set up, play action. The run becomes the lead punch and the pass is the counter.
So the defense will tell you when it's time to take your explosive opportunity.
Because I think if you're doing what this offensive line is getting ready to start doing and is dominating up front, and you're smart in pass protection, and Kyren is chipping away at you, and you can stay with that, I think they will.
I think eventually it's going to be time for Tutu Atwell to go 70. I think it's there.
So let me ask you, because I woke up thinking the same thing. Like, I want a down there somewhere shot to Tutu Atwell. Do you want that on tape this week against the Cardinals heading into the postseason, or you want that in your back pocket? Or does it matter?
I don't think it matters, because the way you're running the football right now, they're going to still have to put 8 guys in the box.
Okay.
Right? And what I love about all the run game is that it all looks the same again. It's starting to all look the same. The play action pass, the bootleg, the run, it's all starting to look the same. Guys you have 4 or 5 plays off of the same motion and shift, which again causes confusion. I just know whenever the Rams need a big play, or they need a chunk play, or they need a game clinching play, it's 5 that shows up consistently. Against the Buffalo Bills, 5 showed up on a deep end route. Against the Chicago Bears, early in that first half, 5 was showing up consistently. Like, he just shows up game after game after game, it's time to reward him with a nice touchdown because, again, he's when everyone's focused on everybody else, he's the one that's creating separation.
I was just reminded of something you said last week, DeMarco, which was going to New York, knowing it was going to be tough weather, and knowing that you had 2 division games that are gotta have it on the backside of that you said you wanted to see the Rams win with their grit, their temperament, not necessarily their playbook. You're kind of saying, like, hold back your best stuff for Arizona and Seattle. Do you feel like they got that done?
I do.
Do you feel like that's how they won?
I do. They slugged it out. I don't think McVay really told his hand or,
I forgot that that's what you were hoping for flying to the Meadowlands.
And they got it. And I think you can kind of open that up against Arizona, depending on what happens tonight with Seattle. You may pull out all the stops versus Arizona, or you may have to, but there's going to be some stuff you don't see, like some red zone stuff that you probably won't want to give away until you need to really have it, unless you need to use it on Saturday. But yeah, I'm with you on the deep shots with Tutu. I would love, or DeMarcus or anybody down the field. Yeah. Just pick your shots, because to get the ball down the field, he's got to stand back there and hold it. And that's the one thing. And the O-line and the play calling and the execution has been great. There's been no sacks allowed, but you've also avoided those situations where he's got to stand back there and hold it.
Who's the kid that had all the sacks in week 2? He's on IR, right? For Gardeck. He's on IR?
Yeah. And he only had 3 sacks that game. Yeah, he played 7.
I'm just saying,
but that was different.
We may have a little bit of time then, because the way he was going in there was crazy.
What do we give Alaric Jackson? Do we comeback player of the year? Or most important, because we haven't said his name.
I've said it. Me and JB have had a conversation,
but not a lot.
Maurice is auditioning to be his agent.
Dude, listen, for whatever reason, when he's out there, that side is protected. I told you against the Niners, I knew it was something, because all week in the pregame in the national media, I was like, yo, Alaric Jackson versus Bosa, blah, 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 blah. And Bosa goes to the other side.
Yeah, he didn't want him.
Didn't want none of that. To me,
I would love to have been with Jackson during that week 2 game. And I hope this hurts. I hope it's killing you to see what's happening without you.
But yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
He's played like it since.
Yes.
Credit to him. All right. I feel like we've shown all of our cards, but let's finish with one key to the game each, maybe, as we anticipate Arizona Saturday night, stressing Saturday night at SoFi Stadium. Hope you can join us.
Is Connor going to play? He got banged up, 31 snaps. I don't know. He was balling before he got hurt. So if
he's having a career year, if he does play.
Okay, I'll assume he's there. If he's going to play, him. They seem to be hiding behind the run game right now, and they're pounding defenses, or at least they tried with Carolina. So that seems to be their lead punch. Stop 6, work your way to Kyler, win the football game that way.
Man, we're going to talk about Marvin Harrison Jr., huh?
Yeah.
It's on my list. You take it.
No, you go ahead. I was
130 and 2 touchdowns, both of those season highs.
Yeah.
The word out of the desert right now is that his inability to win 50-50 balls is the new red flag. Remember week 2, it was like, his GPS speed doesn't look like a first-round pick.
So you know what that means. They're going to be throwing 50-50 balls. I 2 things. One, I think Kyron has to continue to run the way he's running. That is very important. His physical nature, running through guys, still control your emotions. Though you can't throw the ball, the guy get the 15-yarder. But the way he's running is huge. It gives your team, your offensive physicality, right? Like the Rams have always been known as like a outside zone team, play action pass, flashy, but not physical. And then over this last couple of years, he's became the physical punch that you've needed. And to me, he has to continue running the way he's running. The other thing is going to be, if you get to Kyler, you have to get him down. We can't have too many more whiffs anymore. And that's going to be, again, I believe that's going to be a Kobe Turner and Braden Fisk game.
Yeah.
That's what I believe it's going to be. Even with those tackles out, I think that in order to get Kyler, the only way I've seen Kyler get got is from puncturing the pocket inside.
Well, if he knows his tackles are out, isn't he going to be thinking, I got to step up and escape?
Or dump it fast.
Yeah. And
walk right into those defensive tackles.
Who's one of the fastest winning, if not the fastest winning defensive lineman in the game today?
Yeah.
So if you can win quick, you're going to get pressure right away, which is going to force him to go outside. So those 2 guys have to have a Kobe Turner.
Kingpin and Kobe against Kyler.
Yeah. Another guy that should be in the tent with Verse in front of Aaron's house. Teach me, Jedi Master.
I'll take your cue about this being a tight end game. I'll just talk about the other tight end. Trey McBride's had a year, 92 for 958, but no touchdowns. Tied for the most catches before a touchdown in a season in league history. Don't let him in. Don't let him in at SoFi.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's like the longest non-scoring run. You know what I mean?
That's like
Yeah.
That's kind of like it. That's like
You lead in
tie.
pressures but got no sacks.
Yeah, it's like,
Looking forward to seeing you guys on Saturday. I may not see you next week, though.
What do you
I
mean?
may not see you next week. Well, if these guys clinch, I can't be here next week.
You'll be here next week.
Nah, remember that time where I said if they're resting starters in week 18, I got to eat chocolate on this show?
Where's the chocolate?
right.
I might be calling in sick next week.
No, you're coming. Yeah, you're going to eat chocolate right there.
We'll get you a milk chocolate. We won't let
Hershey
it be
bar.
Kit Kat.
Kit Kat.
Kit Kats are good. You like
You're letting
waffles?
them
That'd be a
off the hook.
champagne problem.
Got to be
There
a
you go.
pure chocolate
But
bar.
if I dodge next week, no why.
Ghirardelli, you'll eat it.
All right. For Maurice Jones-Drew, DeMarco Farr, I'm JB Long. Once again, it's a Saturday night primetime showdown against the Arizona Cardinals. Hope you can join us in person in Inglewood. As always, thank you for being here for Between the Horns, presented by your Southern California Toyota dealers.